Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Tech.Sam and we are still on 100 days of DevOps. Today is day 48 of 100 days of DevOps, and today we'll be rounding up the session on GitHub Actions and most likely session on CI, which is the first part of the CI/CD. Maybe I might have maybe one more video to be doing a recap or something, but today is probably going to be the last video for GitHub Action. And there's something I just want to um, mention or quickly mention that. And I, one of a couple of days ago, when we are talking about image tags, and I think I was able to establish the fact that there are better ways to tag your image. Okay, yes, this is it. When I was talking about image tagging, and I said most times the recommended way is to maybe use the git commit hash, something like this. Yeah, something like this might be a more ideal way to tag your image. But up until now, we've been tagging for Jenkins. We used the build number to tag the image, and then for GitHub Actions, we used the runner number. Yes, the run number. I think it's the run number. Runner number, I think so. Yes. Yes. Let me confirm from. So we used the run number, which is similar to build number in Jenkins. So this is Jenkins, and then the image tag is we use the build number as the image tag. While for GitHub Actions, we use the run number, which is similar to all of that. But we want to do something different. We want to change this tagging from just using the run number to a more appropriate tag, which is the git commit hash, right? So I'm just going to talk about that, and then because of that, I'll be talking about one or two other things as pertaining to GitHub Actions. Yes. So now, when we're writing our workflow, we just used this as we didn't define anything. We just defined a variable called github.runner underscore number. Where did I actually get that from? So I'm also going to cover that in this particular video. So there are two things I want to actually talk about. The same way Jenkins has pre-built in environmental variables, GitHub Actions also have built-in environmental variables where you don't have to explicitly define a variable before you can actually use it. And in addition to that, GitHub also has what they call context. So this particular this particular variable you see me define here is actually a context. So I'm going to show you from the documentation. Let me show you from the documentation docs dot github github. Let me just get GitHub documentation. Okay, I think I don't have it opened. Yeah. So mod runners references is the place I saw variables. So let me look for it. Let me look for that. Or I can just possibly let me just do um let me just do GitHub variables. Okay, so let's come to variables. I think I will see context. Okay, good. So we'll start with context. So basically, context are a way to access information about a workflow, variables, runner environment, and all of that. So There are different types of context. Um, I'm trying to I'm trying to get the documentation for that context and variable. Git GitHub GitHub dot wrong now. I don't remember when I just input that, and I think I should be able to get that. Okay, so I've been able to get it. Um, yes, in documentation. So now we have different contexts. We have GitHub context, we have environment context, we have variables context, we have job context. So I'm going to go to GitHub context. So basically, these are things that you can just use to, they are like predefined variables. So what we use, we have GitHub.actions, and then this shows you, it tells you what it's about. If we go down to, I'm going to run number. I'm going to run number. Yes, so this is what we used. We used GitHub number, which is a unique number for each run of a particular workflow in a repository. So the number begins at 1 for the workflows, blah, 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 and all of that. So we don't want to use run number. We want to use the commit hash, right? So we will check if we have something for commit hash. So we didn't even have to go too far. So we have GitHub SHA. So this is the commit SDK that triggers the workflow. So this is like a better way or an ideal way of you know naming or tagging your image. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm just going to go to this and just change it from github.runner number to github.sha. Okay, and I'm just going to okay now how do you check the commit hash of a how do you check a commit hash basically? So if you come here, you can see that this is the commit, and then there's a number in front of it, which is the last commit I did. Starts with 75A67D, blah blah blah. So when I click on it, you reason why it is actually ideal is because it helps you to actually track who exactly made that commit. If there's any changes, you want to actually see the person or you want to actually know the person that actually made that commit. So you can see that it has my name and I committed it about a couple of hours ago. So if I want to see the full commit hash, I'll copy it. And then when I come to my slide, I can come here and I'll just paste it. So this is one way to get the commit hash. You can see that it starts from 75867. I can also confirm that from our terminal. You can check it when you do git log. So it gives you git log shows you like the history of your commits and who committed it. So this is a history of what I've actually been doing. And you can see that it has the same number as if I copy it and I come here and I paste it, you will see that it's exactly the same number. So what we have on my Git logs is the same thing with what we have in the GitHub repository. So I'm just going to go to quit. Let me quit. Let me edit GitHub red flows and see I don't need to actually do so much. I'm just coming to change this. I'll just change this to github.sh and that is all. So I'm going to status git um git what do you call it again? Git add git commit -m updated image tag, and I did git push -u origin main. It will ask for my username. So if you've watched the video on GitHub, I don't expect you to be having this issue where you always have to type your username and your token. I'm having to do this because I'm just literally being lazy. So, but you can use SSH. Once you use SSH, you don't have to always type your username and your password. So let's go to actions. It's already triggering. So let's go to actions and see the difference now. So we are no longer using the build number. We are using the commit hash. So while this is working, I want to go to um, my Docker Hub. Let me see my hub. So to show you my repository. So this is the last pushed image. So the last tag was 10. All this were done with um all this were done with Jenkins. That's round point two and all of that because that was where I configured it. But this is the build number for GitHub. So the last tag was 11. So I'm going to go back to repositories. Once that is done, we'll come back and confirm. So the image has been pushed see less than a minute ago. So I'm sure that the image has been pushed. Okay. So I guess one thing I forgot to mention, GitHub Action does this thing where in our Jenkins file, we have to manually define a step to do a cleanup for us. We have to manually define it. But with GitHub Actions, it does it by itself. It cleans up, you know, afterwards. You can see post install. It cleans up the Node.js, it cleans up Docker, it cleans up Python, and it just cleans up everything. So once this workflow is completed, this machine is actually like totally gone. It's off. So there's no machine to actually you can't reuse this same machine again. What I mean by machine is that we chose Ubuntu as our runner. So for each time we want to run a job, GitHub provides us with an Ubuntu VM just for that job. And once the job is completed, that Ubuntu VM is taken down so that you don't have to, there's no resource wastage or anything. It cleans up by itself, which is actually very cool if you ask me. So let's come to our repository. If I reload this, if I reload this, so I'm supposed to see, okay. So now the problem now is that we are faced with a challenge. The challenge now is that our tag is too long. Just imagine, see how long our tag is. So we don't want, if you imagine if you want to, how do you put it now? Imagine if you want to use this image, the tag will like literally be long. So there's a way for us to go about it where we can reduce this number. Instead of having this long tag, we'll reduce now. We can say maybe the first five or the first six or the first seven. So I'm also going to show us how to implement that just in a sec. Implement that. We want something that looks like this. We want something that looks like, instead of having this long stuff, we have maybe SHA and just the first 7F 5A 6 7. So we want something like this as our image tag. So how are we going to implement that? So it brings me to the second thing I want to show you, which is, we've looked at context. What I want to look at now is variables. So just the way Jenkins has its input variables like the build number, the build ID, and all of that, GitHub Actions also has its inbuilt variable where you don't literally have to define the variable, you just use it because it's already there. So There is, GitHub Actions, GitHub Actions ID, GitHub environment, GitHub environment name, and blah blah blah, and all of that. You can go through all of this. Just choose the one that you need. The one we'll be working with is probably this. So I'll go back to I'll go back to our workflow, and for me to be able to do that, I need to find a way to extract the commit hash, and not just extract the commit hash, you reduce it to the first 7 characters of the commit hash, right? So how I'm going to do that is that I'll just come here and define a new step name. I'm suspecting that my intelligence would give me that set image tag, and I want um short SH. Okay, so you can see it's basically, let me see if it corresponds with what I want. You can actually do this, or you can what I have is a little bit different, but I want to believe that it's probably going to be the same thing. So let me try out what my intelligence was giving to me. But what I have is actually echo image tag SH, and this is actually what I have. I have SH. So I think I'm going to cut this. I'm going to take out this. I think I prefer what I have better. Prefer what I have. Okay. So image tag. Let me write it from scratch. Echo image tag is equal to SH. Which is exactly what I actually want. So what are we doing? We are setting image tag and getting the GitHub SHA and then putting it into an environmental variable, an inbuilt GitHub environmental variable. So let's look at Git image tag, GitHub SHA, and GitHub environment. So if we go to GitHub, if we go down to GitHub, I'm looking for S. Good. So we have an environmental variable, an inbuilt environmental variable called GitHub SHA, which gets your commit hash when you push an image to a GitHub repository. So we are getting that, and then we are extracting the first 7 characters. When I go back, we are extracting these first 7 characters, and then we are echoing it into, we are creating a temporary environmental variable called image name. So that's basically what we are doing. We're getting the first 7 characters of the GitHub commit hash, and then we are echoing that into a GitHub environment and then making a variable called image tag. So because of that, we will not need to actually have this, because you can't have 2 image tags. So we'll take out this image tag, right? And then because of that, it would affect our code in the sense that we have. So we have a variable here, and just do environmental variable dot image tag. So this is what will change. Now we have already referenced an environmental variable which is image tag here, which is environmental variable. Now we just have to call that variable. We are calling it because we are using the GitHub like inbuilt environmental variable. So we just have to call the variable and then use it here. So it's going to be the same thing here. I'm going to do this. I don't know if it makes sense. Env dot image tag, right? So we're using the image tag, and I'm also going to do this. So, and same here. Good. So all that we had to do was get the GitHub SHA, extract the first 7 characters, use it as an create a variable called image tag, and then push it to a GitHub environmental variable. So it makes it like available to GitHub for this particular workflow rather. So that's all that we had to do. And then we now came down here to reference it. I think we have to change the image tag also to change this. Yes. So that's env.image tag. So do the same here. Do the same thing. That's env dot image tag. So that's basically what we did. And with that, I think our pipeline is fine. So let's copy, and I don't expect us to run into any errors. So we're going to echo this to dot github dot workflows dot ci. So and then we are going to vim. We are going to vim and paste. Okay, so let's check which add its commit changed image tag format. Okay, then we'll push origin main. So we'll put this and then get. Let's copy and paste this. So when I do git log, this is what we just pushed. Yeah, this is what we just pushed. So we should have CF80A0 as our image tag. When I go to the repository, and we'll come here. Okay, change image tag format. Let's go to actions. And this is running. Okay. So you can see from here, if I should increase this, you can see it has seen our tag. So it's showing our tag already. Reduce this. So we can already see this as our tag, the first 7. So When we go down, just to scan, invalid image reference format, blogger backend. Okay, there must have been something. There must have been a mistake with the backend. Let's see. Scan the image. Image scan. Is there any parts that I made a mistake? Let's go to the. Let me check the stages. The images were built successfully. Let me see. Okay, so it was built successfully, and the backend was built successfully. It installed Node.js. Okay, okay. I think there's an issue. Let me check the environmental variable again. Docker username. Okay, so I don't see any errors here. Then probably must have been somewhere I made a mistake. Let me go back to my code. Oh, I can spot the error. This is $2 instead of one. Okay, that's why it couldn't scan the backend image. Okay, it's $2 instead of one. That's where the error is. Let me be sure. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to here and just change it here. I think I should have the $2 here. Okay, and then I'll just take out one. Good. So, and git add, git commit. Okay, and then let me push. And let me get my token. Let me paste. Okay, so since that has been changed, let's go back to our repository and see what we have. Okay, so go to actions, change image tag format again. Okay, so the image has been built. Now we are in sync. We're trying to install sync. Then we scan the image and then we push to remote repository. Okay, so account has been authenticated. We're scanning. Scanning the image. Okay, front end has successfully been scanned and back end has been scanned. So that was the issue. That extra dollar sign was what was causing the issue the other time. So I believe there should not be any failures. So the front end has been pushed, the back end has also been pushed. So if we go to Docker Hub, okay, so we can see now that the tag has been shortened. So this is an ideal way for you to actually tag in a production environment. So you can even trace it to the person that made the commit or the person that actually made changes to the code. And it also helps, in security practices and all of that. So that was what I just wanted to show to you today. So if there are any other videos pertaining to GitHub Actions, I would do well to, maybe upload it later. But for now, this is what I have, and I believe that you've been able to learn a thing or two so far since we've started this phase three. We've talked about Jenkins, we've talked about GitHub Actions, and I've been able to show to you that the concepts are the same. It is just the way you write it. The syntax that might be different, but you can see that we used almost the exact commands that we used for Jenkins. We used it for GitHub Actions, and we're able to achieve the same thing. So if you've enjoyed what you've been watching so far, please do well to not just um keep it to yourself, spread it to other persons that might want to actually learn. You can also assist in liking the video so that YouTube can actually push these videos more to people that might actually need it. And don't forget to subscribe if you're here to subscribe, and then turn on your notification bell so that you get updated once I upload any new videos that might be beneficial to you. So I'll see you again tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.